Welcome back to Nadya's Identity Files. Now I have my two amazing guests here with me. Yay! Are we still like...
now we're just recording.
Now we're just recording. Lots of recording action happening here. I'm really excited to have you ladies both here together because I feel like there is some synergy between both of your respective journeys, even though each of your journeys is obviously incredibly unique and empowering. So I thank you so much for being here to talk about identity and broadcasting and everything that you're doing to be inspirational and purpose-driven. And I'd like to continue this conversation in the context of identity, especially, as you both are of Latina origin, and I really think it's empowering to girls and women watching who feel like they're still being pigeonholed by what society says they can and cannot do, and by certain portrayals of the media that still feel somewhat limiting in scope. So if we could just kind of like have a conversation about that and how you recommend that they overcome these obstacles, which sometimes, again, are just imposed by society, but it's hard to move past them sometimes, even just as a woman. Like, sometimes I deal with a lot of incredulity, you know what I mean, from males in terms of like what I'm doing.
I think right off the bat, first and foremost, it's mindset. The thing is that we're raising our girls specifically to continue to have a mindset where they're things and they're not viewed as being the amazing souls that they are. How is that? Well, perfect example. I can't tell you, and I was just having this conversation today with my mom, and we were laughing because I told her out of gratitude, thank you for raising me to be what we call a classy chingona. So a classy chingona is a woman without apology who stands in her own right and in her own light and goes after what she wants, and she hustles, right? So in Spanish, chingona can be, transcribed as being the B word in English, but it was owning up to that word, and that was something that we came up with when I was a kid, because she'd be like, look, I want you to be super classy, handle your business, be respectful, go in early, leave late, double down on the work, always under promise, over deliver. But now if someone comes and messes with you, your money, your family, your goals, that's when you can feel free to take out the razor blade, right? Like that's when you can feel to be like, yo, so here's my boundary, I'm gonna need you to stop right here, right? In disrespecting you. And so I appreciated that. So cut to what I'm seeing today, I can't tell you how many people in my feed have been like, oh, are you so excited? There's an African-American bachelorette. Maybe there'll be a Latina. And then here's the new season of The Bachelor. Right. I have not for one day ever seen that show, nor do I intend to.
My God, me either. But I had somebody on my show like a few episodes back. We were looking at identity and relationships, and she literally was a former casting director for The Bachelor. It was so interesting.
That would be really interesting. But this is my point, is that we're actually having girls, raising girls to aspire to be on shows like this, to publicly fight over men, like 5-year-olds.
Right.
That is not something. I want to raise girls in our society to be president. Even though this last one didn't go down the way we would want to, doesn't mean that one day we won't have a president in the U.S. that's a female. I believe that we will.
Right.
We should be raising them to be CEOs of their companies, to be entrepreneurs. So it really starts with mindset. And a lot of people say, well, what if I don't have a lot of money, then that means I'm already off. No, there's story after story after story.
And you regularly mentor young girls. And, what are some of the key questions that they come to you with?
Really, it's just how to make it and how to find what God sent them to do, because they feel very, very lost. And to answer your previous question, I just always knew that I was a double negative. I'm female and I'm Latina. So I just knew that I had to work harder. And I didn't mind it. I liked that hard work because it developed my character and it made me run quicker, think faster than most men. And so when you were raised in the United States and your parents are immigrants, you already come here knowing that there's a disadvantage for you and you have to work that much harder. And so I just tell my mentees it's okay if they're giving the promotions to these guys and they're paying them more even though you guys are doing the same job. Keep working and have the courage to go and ask for that same salary because you deserve it. And if you have like your accolades behind, you feel very confident to ask for what you're worth.
Right. So true, totally.
Yeah, and to build off of what she was saying, I think, it goes back to the immigrant mindset is a very what I like to call a very strong advantage so many of us actually have. A lot of people do choose to focus on it. Oh, well, I'm, from immigrant parents, and there's this word in the Spanish culture we call pena, which means I feel ashamed, right? People are like, oh, me da pena to ask for a raise. No, do not be ashamed to ask for a raise. Like, if you deserve that raise, you go and you ask for it. Mm-hmm. And when you're an immigrant, you hear these stories of people making $1 out of 50 cents. In the Latin world, we've learned how to make it out of 10 cents, right? So double down on that and grow with it. But really, it starts, like I was saying, with affirmations or with mindset. I really think a great way to key into that is with affirmations. Like, this sounds silly, but it will change your life. If you wake up every morning and at least tell yourself, I am enough, I am worth this, and you repeat it, it's a painful but healing process. And if you commit to doing that for 40 days, again, that's part of seeing the world through love-filled eyes, you'll actually start seeing a shift in the people that come to you, the opportunities that show up for you, and the way that you're able to show up for your life.
Right. And, in terms of, obviously, you do live streaming, like, all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, what is that like in terms of, like, thinking about how people are responding to you? Like, do you feel very, like, kind of self-aware, like, okay, I have to make sure I continue to be inspirational and set an example of myself for girls?
Or do you love that question. Actually, what's funny is when you have been, as I have, committed to seeing this world through love-filled eyes, being positive becomes your default. So I don't drink coffee, which you and I were talking about. I don't do energy drinks.
I was like, why don't you get some coffee?
Yeah, and I was like, I'm good. Like, I love tea. Don't get me started. I love my tea. But, like, I don't drink coffee.
What about you? A coffee person? Big time.
Yeah, right? And for me, like, honestly, when people say, well, what fuels you? I'm like, honestly, being able to wake up and simply, which we'll do now, is take a breath. That, for me, is my relationship with God, my relationship with Spirit, to be like, thank you. You gave me one more day to make my dreams come true. Let's do this. Let's hit the ground running. I hit my feet to the ground and I'm like, let's go. Like, that is all the energy that I need. And so when I'm on live, I take them through everything, through all the craziness, through all my adventures on and off set around the world with me. And they get to see that. And yeah, there's some days where things happen because it's life. Like, I remember I was held hostage in the Miami airport, and I didn't think I was going to be able to make it to my mom's surgery here in LA. But there was someone with a gun, and they, put us down in the terminal, and they wouldn't let us out. So I started live streaming, and I was like, well, if this is it, you guys, this is it, but we're going to go down together, right? And I was still being positive. Right. I broke down. I was crying because I really wanted to be here for my mom. But I'm like, I'm going to just think positive thoughts, and I'm also just going to make the most of the opportunity that I have, and at least I can connect with you guys.
Right.
So it's always, even when life throws you something kind of goofy, finding the good in it to turn it around to be of service, either to you or to your community.
What are your thoughts on that?
I just also feel that no matter what comes your way, you need to have tools to do what's right. We're going to have obstacles and people who make us mad all day, every day. And if we choose to let that affect our mood, we're going to be ultimately unsuccessful people, because what we think we attract. And so I just feel in the morning I put on my armor, I go to the mountains and I pray and I talk to God and I ask God to please identify the one person I'm supposed to help that day. And on the way when I'm running down the mountain, I'm saying tons of prayers that I was taught growing up, and by the time I'm done, I just feel so energized and full of life, full of love, that I know that I have so much I can now give to others. And so I would just recommend to fill yourself up as much as possible so that when you encounter that negative person throughout the day, you could give them a little bit of your light.
That's awesome. I mean, I'm very into positive thinking and mindset. There's so much conversation around it. It's kind of like buzzwords somewhat, especially like I'm in digital marketing in this space. Like if you're going to be a thought leader, you have to be, focused on your mindset and your growth mindset and being positive. And I think sometimes people can kind of usurp that and turn it into something else and make people feel as though they can't have moments of discouragement or, periods of reflection and really feeling the way they feel, and they should just kind of like sweep it under.
Oh, yeah, you definitely want to embrace what you're feeling, because you don't want to run from it, but work through it, right?
Exactly.
So I always tell people, grow through what you're going through.
Absolutely. So I think there is a distinction between being self-aware and aware of your environment and what's going on in yourself, and just completely replacing it with one ideology or type of thinking. And I think that you both, in your own way, are very cognizant of what's going on in your own worlds and the worlds of other people, without just think like, oh, well, law of attraction. You got to just constantly. It's
Well,
like,
I'd love to just interject real quick because
I'm a pragmatist.
And I love that you actually brought something really important. And I noticed it in Elvira's answer is we both practice a morning routine, right? So there's a book by Hal Elrod called Miracle Mornings. It changed my life, and it talks about doing the things that you need to set up to do. That productive people do before they start their day. So before the world needs you, what you need to do, and the way that she very eloquently put it, is how you need to put on your spiritual armor, right? So if that's prayer, if that's sitting in silence, if that's meditation, and prayer doesn't have to be to God. I know some people get a little woo-woo about it, but it could be just those affirmations, right? So these things that set you up for success, and always making sure you have your 3 main actions that you need to get done today so that you feel successful and you don't get caught up in this endless to-do list route where you're like, I don't know if I've done anything at all, right?
Right, and I find myself often becoming trapped because I'm so busy right now, and no lie, my naturopath, I'm big on holistic health. Yeah, like she said, just like, the number one issue probably for you, because you eat well and you could eat even better, but you eat well, is stress. Like you need to establish a morning ritual and an evening ritual. And I'm like, oh, well, yeah.
It'll change your life. It will change your life. I mean, as we both can attest to it.
We have a friend outside.
I love it. Friends.
Hi, friend. Just had to call out our friend. Yeah, 150%. Obviously, a lot of practices and tools in this beautiful book. Everybody, go get the book. It's available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble online. And also your website, right?
Yes.
The website is up on the screen. And obviously, you can find Liza on her Periscope. She's broadcast like 500 times a day.
Yeah, you can find me there and everywhere. I'm actually in the middle of writing my book, so it'll be out in 2 weeks. So if you guys want to sign up, you can also go just find me at xoxoliza.com, as well as anywhere on social. Connect with me at xoxoliza with 2 Z's, please, and we will be connected, and I will send you some free tools and gifts that are coming up.
Yay! Well, thank you, ladies, both so much for all of your input and inspiration, and we'll see you next time.
Perfect. Bye, guys.
Bye.
We'll see you soon.